Good morning, this is Dr. Turner for Fundamental Mathematics A. Today we're going to be covering 2.5, which is looking at converting fractions to percentages. Fractions to percentages is a little bit trickier. There's some techniques that we can use. There's a couple of ways we can go around this, but we'll go ahead and just jump right into it and get started. In 2.4, we looked at converting fractions to decimals. And so one of the ways that you can convert a fraction to a percent is by first converting it to a decimal. So just because we have these up here, I'm going to use these same examples as fodder. So for instance, number one here, if I wanted to convert now my 3/4, again, we're using the same examples as 2.4 intentionally, but let's say I want to convert these now to a percent. So one way to do that is to go from fraction to decimal and then decimal to percent. So I take the fraction and let's say 3/4, I'm converting that to 0.75. To convert a decimal to a percent, which we'll talk about in another unit, but to convert a decimal to a percent, what you do is you take that value, let's say that 0.75, and you are going to move the decimal place 2 places over. So you take the decimal and move it 2 places over, and then add the percentage sign. And that's it. Okay. So obviously, if you're doing this from scratch, it takes a little work, right? First fraction to decimal, then decimal to percent, but that's how you do it. Number two, if I wanted to convert that fraction to a decimal, same thing. I'm taking my 0.875 here. I'm going to take that decimal and move it 2 places over to the right and add my percentage sign. That's my answer. Something like number 3 still works. I have something like 0.666 repeating. Okay, I'm going to take that 0.666, however many sixes you want to write, move it over twice, and either put 66.7 if you're rounding, or you could put 66.6 bar percent. So decimal to percent, you move it 2 to the right. That's one way to convert a fraction to a percent. Now, the other way, percent, that by definition, percent means parts per 100. So another way that you could convert it is if you can change the denominator to be 100. We talked about how we can convert fractions in 2.3, how to simplify fractions. When we were dividing to simplify, you could also go up and multiply to get equivalent fractions. So let's say, in that same example, a 3/4, for instance, okay, if I can make this denominator 100, then whatever this number is my percent, okay, because it means parts per 100. Out of 100, how much is it? There's even a couple ways you could do this. Most commonly, you could cross multiply 4 times x, 3 times 100. Okay, that's one way to do it. So you could cross multiply and solve that one-step equation. Divide by 4, so your answer is 75%, okay? Or you look at this and go just straight across. 4 times what is 100? That's 25. So 3 times 25 is 75, which also gives you an answer of 75%. So there's multiple ways to approach this section. Let's do one more. Let's say I have 3/10. Okay. So to make it out of 100, either cross multiply or go across and see what the factor is. I typically like to do the scale factor, but cross multiplication or scale factor will work. So here, if I do 10 times 10, that gives me 100. 3 times 10 would give me 30. Therefore, 3/10 is 30%. I'm okay with any technique you guys are comfortable with, so long as it's done correctly. That's it for today, guys. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. Otherwise, have a good day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.